What are the tricks and tips of great speakers? How do they move? How about their facial expression? Let's get to know how to deliver different types of speeches in a bit. Hello dear learners, this is your teacher Renette. Welcome back to our oral communication class. What is your feeling right now that we are talking about speeches? I know that you are all potential speakers. I'm sure some of you here have experienced delivering speeches during special occasions such as graduation. Well, speaking about speeches, we are going to discuss the different types of speeches according to delivery. There are 4 types, but we will only discuss 2 types of speeches. Our lesson objectives are the following. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify the different types of speeches according to delivery, and you need to use principles of speech delivery in different situations. Still recall our previous lesson? We talked about the types of speeches according to purpose. You need to know the purpose first before you deliver your speech. Without purpose, our speech is not at all relevant. How often do you have to get up in front of people? A few times a year? Every day? Oh, impossible. How do you manage stage fright? Well, according to experts, if you feel butterflies on your stomach, meaning you get nervous before a speech presentation, then you are normal. Come on, it's normal to get nervous. At my end, before I present, I usually do some breathing exercises, just a simple inhale, exhale. I try to do facial massage like this, or hand exercises or finger exercises just to calm down my nerves. You try it. What can you say about these speakers?
Ladies and gentlemen, when I look at you, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is.
Courage, risk, try new things. Victory is not in the result, my friends. The victory is in try.
Only one word for me. Wow. Is there still a chance to be like them? Sure, we need to try. According to Lily Walters, the success of your presentation will be judged not by the knowledge you send, but what the listener receives. This is how valuable feedback is. That is why efficient speech delivery is important. We may have the same topic, but how we deliver makes the difference. The first type of speech according to delivery is reading a manuscript. This is delivering a speech from a text written word for word. This is an advantage for people who want to practice in advance the delivery of their speech. Of course, since it is manuscript reading, it is well prepared. So what are some examples? President's speeches during sauna or even graduation speech. In our school, we require our honor students to read or familiarize their speech. They must bring a copy to make it sure they won't miss anything and they cannot use other words that may drag the program. What do you think is the disadvantage of reading a manuscript? Since the speech is recited from a manuscript, it lacks impact on the audience. As a result, it is not really enticing compared to other ways of speaking like conversational or natural conversation. If someone reads a speech, most audience get bored as it lacks emotion. So in order to avoid this, here are some tips when you read a manuscript. The first one is don't rush. A good speaker reads 140 words per minute. Too slow or too fast is not good. I remember one comment from my video. She commented that I speak too fast. So that's a reminder for me. I'll try to read 70 words in 30 seconds. God is just, and hunger for justice is one of the fundamental pillars of society, not just for Christians, but for most people of faith. Therefore, we must study closely how we administer justice and how we deal with those who are guilty of wrongdoing, including those who commit serious crimes. Murder is the most evil act, stated in the 5th commandment. Thou shalt not kill. I disagree with death penalty. Is it too fast? That's the ideal speed in reading. Memorize the first and the last line. Even though it is reading from a manuscript, memorizing or familiarizing the opening and closing lines will allow the speaker to look and focus at the audience at the start and at the end, so you still have this rapport. Have you noticed that some TV hosts, even though they read a manuscript or they read a script, but their opening and closing spills are well practiced? Even TV presenters. Look at the audience at the end or at the beginning of a sentence. Remember, you don't need word for word. The way you read is connected from one word to the next one. You have to glance once in a while. Alright? Know when to pause. Proper phrasing will definitely add to the clarity of the message. This will enhance the impact of the message. Example, I do hereby pledge to abide to the rules and regulation of the organization. There is still emphasis. If there is a comma, you have to pause. If there is a period, you have to make a longer pause. When you say, what do you do? Or what do you do? Same question, different pause or emphasis. Practice several times. As the famous cliche says, practice makes perfect. Well, there is no such thing as perfect, but nothing beats constant practice. The second type of speech according to delivery is the opposite of manuscript reading. What do you think? It is memorized speech. To be honest, I don't like this type of speech because I'm not really good in memorizing. How about you? Memorized speech is delivering a speech that is recalled verbatim from a text. It is done by preparing a written speech and then memorize it word for word. I could still recall when I was in elementary and high school, all graduation speeches were memorized. And we really admired those honor students because they did not bring a copy. That's impressive. But what's the disadvantage? You need amount of time memorizing a text. Do you like it? Especially if you don't have much time. At some point, you might forget what is next, and this may cause embarrassment. And it will be difficult to get back to track. Even if you memorize during practice, but during the actual presentation, you get nervous. The audience can sense that you are already nervous. You notice that your voice will change and you are rattled like, yes, your voice will change. Anyway, how will you avoid to make this speech a success? Of course, maintain the 140 word per minute speech rate. As we have studied, 140 words per minute is the average. I just did it a while ago. Use hand gestures and movement. Don't pretend that you memorized the speech. I want you to watch the winners of public speaking contests sponsored by Toastmasters. It is a public speaking organization and they have a yearly competition on public speaking. The third is include expression in your voice. You need to vary the sound of your speech. You may lower or raise your voice. Learn the art of different expressions. And the last one, memorize not just the speech, but also the outline of the speech. Making an outline of the speech to be memorized and putting the same into memory will help you go back to track if you are distracted. This month, the Toastmasters had their public speaking competition through online. Here's the champion.
As I watched the sheriff who had just been shot slide back open that heavy metal door, stagger forward a couple of steps, look deep into the camera and say, I before E except after C.
I can assure you that if you watch the speakers from YouTube such as TED Talks, Toastmasters, or other channels intended for oral communication, you will be inspired to improve your speaking ability. Remember, being proficient in oral communication is not just needed in school, but even at work. Happy learning! See you!